Hi, I'd like to talk to you today about multi-level marketing and network marketing, which are basically the same thing. And I'm going to be reading from something I've prepared to help me remember all the things that I wanted to touch on. This is not going to be an exhaustive review of it, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare that industry to the direct sales industry. Now, just so you know, I have been in Amway, NSA, which is National Safety Associates, Equinox. I was in another one called IM&M, which is International Mining and Minerals or something like that. And another one or two. I also have done direct sales, such as Centura Creations, Imitation Perfumes and Colognes, and Top Marketing's FCC, Lifeline, and EBB tablet, which actually Top Marketing engages in multi-level marketing. And I've been offered over and over and over again opportunities in multi-level marketing that I have turned down because it just doesn't work for me. I don't have the mentality for that kind of work. Now, a couple of points that I need to explain to you. An upline is somebody above you in the organization. That doesn't mean like if you work at a regular organization that everybody above you is, like all the managers and directors and stuff like that. Those are all your upline. No, upline is analogous to your ancestors. Okay, so when you look at the roots of a tree, right, they branch out, right, because the children and grandchildren are down here, and then the parents and grandparents and granduncles and aunts and great grandparents and uncles and aunts and so on and so forth, and it kind of goes. The shape is like that, right, like a pyramid. Oh gosh. So the upline are those people above you, directly above you. So there's you, and then there's your recruiter, and the recruiter of your recruiter, and the recruiter of that person, the recruiter of that person, the recruiter of that person. And it's just a straight line, okay? There's no split offs or anything like that, all right? The downline is the people that you have brought into the organization, and those people that they've recruited, and so on and so on and so on, down, so that when you look at it, here you are, say you're at the top right here, right? Everything below you, all the people that, it forms a pyramid below you. So you're part of a pyramid and you are the top of a pyramid. And, the bigger the pyramid below you, the better it is for you. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to talk about some of the similarities between direct or non-retail sales and also known as door-to-door sales with multi-level marketing or network marketing. Again, those two terms are basically the same thing. Network marketing people love to say, no, it's not an MLM. We're different, but really, they're not. Essentially, you can say, yes, it's a pyramid scheme. Now, the difference between the pyramid schemes that are truly illegal, like a Ponzi scheme, and the one, or what Bernie Madoff did, and who's now making lots of money as a consultant doing, because he ripped off all those people. Now he's rich again. Hey, good for you, Bernie, asshole. The difference is that with a Ponzi scheme, the money just keeps on flowing uphill, and the person at the top who's running the scheme, or the scam, they use the money that's coming to them to pay the people that came in first, which either means some of them will drop out after they get the return on their investment that they were promised, and some of them will be like, oh gosh, I finally got all my money, I'm going to put it back in. And so they are waiting for more money. So you can get repeat business that way. But ultimately, these people are giving money and getting nothing in return other than a promise of a return on investment. And that's the difference between MLMs, network marketing, and a Ponzi scheme. Okay, with network marketing and MLMs, you actually get something for your money. Is it necessarily worth what you paid? Not necessarily. Okay, so the first thing that's similar between direct marketing or door-to-door sales and MLMs and MMs, they try to motivate you with their own success stories. They tell you to focus on your dreams and use positive thinking, and there's a term that's used in some industries. I don't know if it's very common anymore, but it used to be blue vase, which is a reference to a story about a sales guy who had to do something with the blue vase. Go find it, figure it out for yourself. They have strategies designed to help you with sales and recruiting, but that's not part of direct sales. You almost always will be selling brands and products that are not available on the open market. Although Amway did, or maybe still does, I'm not really sure. I'd have to ask my niece who's in Amway. I haven't had the heart to really tell her to get out. So Amway, for example, did or still does sell products from many other companies, some of which were garbage. But my upline touted them as being only the best of the products from those companies. And so you generally sell products at a higher than normal price because of their premium quality. So everything is going to be taught to you as being of the best quality. You hype the products verbally and through specific demonstrations that focus on strengths and ignore or hide weaknesses. You may be taught to use deceptive language, which, some companies, that's part of the way they do business, and they will actively teach that. I saw that in direct sales when I was in it, and others will be the bad seeds in the organization who are doing it because they're unethical and they don't care about the consequences. You may unofficially be taught to cut corners and break rules while they assure you that you won't get into trouble. I saw that in my last direct sales job where I was selling tablets for the FCC's Lifeline and EBB programs, and I even reported it to the FCC. You may be told facts about the amazing products and what they do without actual statistical data and double-blind experimental proof that has been peer-reviewed or assessed by a governmental agency. Going door-to-door may be illegal in the area you are in, and the police may be called. Now, that applies to door-to-door sales as well as MLMers who decide to go knock on their neighbors' doors. The people at the top are the ones earning the most. This is true everywhere, in every business. You're not going to find a situation where it's not a pyramid. Look at every corporation, look at every government. It's generally the people at the top who are earning the most. So let's stop saying, oh, MLMs are pyramid schemes, because pretty much everything is a pyramid scheme. So just stop the false comparisons. Earning potential per month or year is larger than most non-degreed people can get without many years of experience and wise career choices. The same holds true of less valuable degrees. For example, associate's degrees, which are often the entryway to low-paying jobs like state-tested nursing STNAs, state-tested nursing aides or nurses' aides. Even with some experience, it'd still be a better job to have than having an associate's degree. If the person is highly motivated, however, and has the right psychological makeup, with or without criminal or immoral elements, they can earn large sums of money. But the majority of people are either unwilling to behave in the immoral ways common to both direct sales and MLM, or they're not psychologically geared for the constant stream of rejections. No, I can get something just as good as that at the store. This is a scam. It's too expensive. It's not as good as you say it is. MLM is a Ponzi scheme. Oh, it can do that? Show me the scientific studies and FDA approval of that statement. I can do that at home for half the price. And so on. There's a lot of rejection. What individual distributors and groups run by high-ranking distributors do may be in direct violation of both laws and the company's rules. Regular motivational sessions, occasional state and regional conventions, mostly for motivational purposes and to introduce new products and they rake in a lot of money. Yearly conventions with the same purposes. Unlimited market potential and growth is claimed, which in some ways is true because there is always population turnover, in other words, death and birth. And of course, stuff that, breaks or is used up. So those are some of the similarities between door-to-door or direct sales and MLM. Now here are some of the differences. So I'm focusing on MLM here, right? Setting up sales or recruiting parties sounds easy, but so many people are wary of being invited to these that you are taught vague and or deceptive language, and to avoid any specifics about the business opportunity you want to share. So when somebody says, hey, I've got a business opportunity and I'm going to be giving a presentation about it next week, Tuesday at 7 o'clock, can you come on over to my house? Okay, first of all, they've said at their house, and that should be an indicator that it's probably MLM. And then if you ask them, well, what kind of business opportunity? Well, I don't really have time to get into it right now, but when you come on Tuesday, I will be happy to answer all your questions. So if they avoid answering your questions about it, especially if they're trying to make it sound like they don't have time to talk about it, that they're too busy, that's also typical of MLM people trying to set up a party. Now, I'm not saying if it's a sales party, and they say, well, they're not talking about, oh, it's a business opportunity. I want you to get into business on the ground floor and that kind of thing. Instead, they're like, well, you know what? I'm just having a product party, and I'd like you, if you very much, if you could come over. I'm going to have some free food, and if you want to bring something, it's kind of a potluck thing, and I'm going to be showcasing some of the products that I'm selling. You don't have to buy anything. I just would like to have you there for moral support. That's a different thing, because you don't have to buy. You may feel compelled to buy, but you don't have to. That's on you. But if somebody's saying they've got a business opportunity, they refuse to be specific about it, and they want you to come over to their house, that's usually an MLM. You can actually earn a living selling products for some companies if they're not crap. However, the real money is in recruiting. Recruiting allows you a passive income, at least in some multi-level marketing companies. And in some companies, the business may even be inheritable. Recruiting is, in fact, the keystone to true wealth. Okay, you can't really do that in direct sales. There's no recruiting. Okay. Support businesses are also a big way to make money, especially once you have enough credibility. For example, you've achieved a specific level in business. Now, a support business, for example, would sell audio materials, video materials, written materials, and that spells big business for these people because they buy them at wholesale prices, discounted prices, and then they sell them to you at store prices. Although, you can go get the list from them of things that are not theirs, like Og Mandino's series on sales, or the Blue Vase book, or the magic of thinking big, the power of positive thinking, and Napoleon Hill's, I forgot the name of the book, but very famous book on what he found out when he surveyed a whole bunch of very, very wealthy people, and so on and so forth. Those kind of things you can get. They may or may not have books that are proprietary to their organization or company or other materials. But if you get the list, you can always go to the store or the half-price store or whatever it is, borrow it from the library. But still, they make a lot of money because most people will just buy directly from them because, they're all kind of like, oh, must buy, where money, give it to me. They just kind of forget that they have other options, and that's a side effect of the language and the building up of hopes and stuff that are very commonly used in both direct sales and MLM. It has a side effect of kind of turning off some of your abilities to reason, to be a critical thinker, to analyze, to question. It's a very big business. People running that kind of a business won't necessarily need to sell or recruit because they can just sit there and sell these products that you can get elsewhere. They also will have audio and video recordings that are made by upline members who may be in your upline or maybe in somebody else's upline, but they've got like high level status. They're earning a lot of money every year because they've managed to get to a high level. Now, I will caution you. If you're looking at a business and they're promoting, oh, well, such and such a famous person got in, that should absolutely not, and I say with a big N-O-T, not, be a consideration for you. Why? Because as a celebrity or a other famous person, they automatically have an edge over everybody else. Why? Because they're rich and they're famous. They already have the clout to make people listen to them without a lot of effort. So they can invite lots of people over, especially if they're not in their actual peer circle. If they're like just regular groupie kind of people that are mindless, they can invite them and say, hey, you know what? I've got this great business opportunity. And you'll be like, oh, Gwyneth Paltrow, thank you so much. I want you to rob me of all my money with your crappy products. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be saying that, should I? But, don't buy her products. She's a lunatic and a scammer. All right, so where was I? But yeah, these people make a lot of money on these support materials. And I mean, when I was in Amway, I was getting the books. I was, sometimes I go to the library or something or the store and try to get them cheaper. But I was buying the audio material and listening to them when I was working, and yeah, it can be these things can be an effective tool to help keep you motivated, but at the same time, it costs a lot of money. And if you're not earning a lot of money in the business, you're putting out more money, way more money than you're bringing in, and it may be that you end up with a whole lot of materials that you can't resell. Because those audio and video recordings that are specific to the MLM that you're in, they're useless outside of that MLM. So you have to keep on recruiting because the number of people who drop out of the business is very large. Now, I don't have the statistics on it. In a video I was just watching by CoffeeZilla where he interviewed a major opponent of MLM, Robert Fitzpatrick, who wrote the book Ponzi-nomics. He estimated 50 to 80% of people drop out very rapidly from MLMs. So you have to keep on recruiting. And this recruiting is not usually something that's done by salespeople in a direct sales business. Although when I was in top marketing selling the Lifeline and EBV tablets, they actually are a direct sales company that does MLM. And now there's, what's that crappy company called? Oh man, I can't believe I can't remember this. Why can I not remember this? Oh, iHub Global. There it is. iHub Global is a company that is paying you in helium, which is a crap cryptocurrency. And as far as I've been able to determine, helium and iHub Global are probably very closely tied, and it's not legitimate. But they use a multi-level marketing strategy to get you to, not only did they do a bait and switch. For a while they were saying that their HubSpots were going to be free, and then suddenly they're like, oh, sorry, it's not going to be free. We're going to be charging you this much money. Either you can lease it, and then once you're done, once you quit, you can give it back, and we'll give you a $99 deposit back, or you can give us that $99 deposit and buy it. But when you leave the business, you still have to return it, even though you bought it for a slightly higher price than the lease, I think. But it's in the end, you end up paying somewhere in the area of about $500, which was the original price before they started saying they're going to give them away for free. So yeah, they're a scam company, and I've got a couple of videos if you want to look at them. All right, so next step. Even though you are not legally supposed to buy product to maintain your level and cannot be required to do so, some people pressure you. They may be subtle about it. They may be harshly manipulative about it. They may guilt you or whatever as their downline, and they even may, some of them will encourage you or push you to make a buy-in purchase, which is to say, when you join, in order to bump you up a level, you buy X amount of product, like X number of starter packs, and that bumps you up a level right at the very beginning so that you have a larger earning potential. Now, depending on which MLM you're in, you may have to constantly sell, like Tupperware. If you do Tupperware, you have to constantly keep your volume at a certain level, otherwise you drop down and down and down. And some MLMs work that way. You know, they force you to constantly keep a specific volume, which is hard. It's stressful, and other MLMs don't do that. So I would say stay away from companies that do not allow you to maintain your level for at least, say, a certain number of months before you start dropping down because of your volume not staying at the right level. But if it's like every month, don't. And Tupperware, I think, is pretty much everyone. So I don't recommend Tupperware because it's overpriced. It's not really worth it. It is difficult or impossible to transfer to a different recruiter and upline, and may require that you start over. So if you are with a recruiter who is incompetent, or your upline is immoral or criminal, it can be hard in some organizations and even impossible in others for you to get a different upline or different recruiter without actually abandoning everything. Which means you may, if you can't get your downline to abandon with you and transfer over, you will lose your downline too. So whatever organization you built, it's dust. And some companies won't allow you to transfer them over anyways. So take a look at that. Cult-like behavior and language can be observed, just like it can be observed in legitimate religions, political movements, etc. But MLMs are generally not cults because they do not do what makes a cult a cult. There are, however, a small number of cult MLMs, or MLM cults. I'm not really sure which way it should be, this way or this way. Fake it until you make it mentality is very, very common. It's wherein you pretend to already have achieved prosperity through the clothes you wear and other possessions that you show off to people. So there's a lot of pressure from yourself and or maybe from your upline and other people to only buy the products you sell to demonstrate your commitment and earn more money to spend on it and show that the products are worth it. So say, for example, and this is my personal experience I had when I was in Amway. They told us, you know what you should do? You should dump every single product that you have in your house right now, go through your whole house, clean out everything that you have that we, Amway, sells. Okay, now I'm not saying that this is what Amway told me to do. This is what my upline was telling us all to do. Okay, get rid of it all, buy our products. That way you can show all of your customers that you're serious, and you can be a witness. You can be a proof of the quality of the products because you've used them, so you know about them. You can answer questions about them, and you know it makes sense. But okay, if you have lots and lots of products that are available and you're going to clear your house out of all of the competing products, you're looking at probably hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that you're going to have to spend to restock your house with company products. Okay, so those are some of the similarities and differences between MLM and NM and direct sales. Now, I have to say, there are people who are really hardcore against MLMs, and they make statements that maybe for some MLMs are true, but for other MLMs are not true. Like when I was watching the CoffeeZilla video called The History of MLM and How They Bought Out Our Government with the critic Robert Fitzpatrick, they made several statements that were not entirely accurate. They made a blanket statement, basically, or a series of blanket statements that represented MLM in a specific, very negative light, and it's not always true. Keep in mind, however, there have been a large number of MLMs that have been started up and run by the company itself, not by independent distributors, as or in ways that are illegal, like Equinox. Equinox got sued out of business, I believe, and there are a few others that got sued out of business. But one of the beautiful tricks of multi-level marketing is if you are in an MLM, you are not an employee of the MLM. You are an independent distributor. So if you say and do things that are not representative of what the company says and says you should do, then it's you're responsible, not the MLM company. And if they're not stupid, they will punish you as well as you getting into trouble legally. But there are MLMs that have been run criminally. So I personally do not recommend multi-level marketing or network marketing. I feel that it's really not for most people, and you have to be very careful because there's a lot of deception, a lot of upline who are more interested in earning money than they are in you. Even though they'll pretend to be all about you, they're not about you, and a lot of companies will lie about the quality of their products and what the products can do. So I would just say, just go to the grocery store or go online and buy stuff from places you can trust, because a lot of the time, you just don't know. A lot of statements are made in MLMs that are not provable, that don't have proof. Thank you very much for watching, and hope you have a great day. Oh, what? You're still here? Oh, well, I guess I should tell you the rest of the story. I'll make this really quick. Multi-level marketing, independent distributors who are recruiting people will typically tell you a great deal about the earning potential, and they'll probably be careful about the wording that they use to ensure that you understand that it's only potential, and it's up to you to make it real. But they will follow up those realistic statements with manipulation of your hopes and fears. Why would they do this? Well, because it's psychologically been proven that when you manipulate somebody's emotions, they cease to be logical. This has been done so many times by religious leaders and political leaders in elections, and at times when they want certain things to happen, it happens over and over and over again. And the more resistance there is, the greater the amount of hope and fear that they will instill in people to get what they want. I could name things, but you'd call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever, and I really just don't have, that's not the point of this video. The point is that this. If you get into this business of any MLM business, it is only potential earnings unless you have what it takes to recruit enough people and sell enough product. And that's what it boils down to. It doesn't matter what else they say. It doesn't matter the cost of the products unless they're exorbitantly high and you'd have to have lots of very rich friends. It doesn't matter about the pretty much anything else. If you don't have the psychological characteristics necessary to make it in this business, you will not. And the majority of the people who get into MLM do not have that makeup. They do not have that personality required to succeed, to constantly being selling, and especially to be recruiting, and to manipulate people through your words and actions and deceive people. This is very common. So if you're getting into or looking at an MLM and you notice they play heavily on your emotions and your hopes for the future and your fears of failure and things like that, those are red flags, and you should run away. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Thanks so much for sticking around a little bit longer, and I hope you have a great day.